Hey you guys, it's Britt. Rolling Stone just released an article on Colleen Ballinger, and I thought that they did a decent job on it, and I wanted to read it along with you guys so that we can continue the conversation about her problematic past, her problematic present, and what could happen for her future. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so this article just came out and we're going to go through it. I understand that Adam McIntyre was very pleased to do this interview with Rolling Stone, so I am so glad that he has been given a platform and recognition, and most importantly, the comfort and support to feel okay sharing his story. And I know that it is not. I can't imagine that it's even remotely simple. But either way, I fully support him, and we're going to read this article. I'll link it down below in case you guys want to read it for yourselves. But let's start at the top. It says that fans built her an internet empire. Now they're tearing it down. And I have talked about this heavily on my channel. Subscribers build the house that you sit in. If you are a full-time YouTuber and this is your main form of revenue, your fans make your life as far as the materialistic stuff that you're, the house you're sitting in, the car you're driving, the stuff that you're able to buy for yourself or your family. And I think that a lot of YouTubers lose sight of that over the years, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's like ego comes into play, and then they are exposed for, being horrible people, and then they, don't want to take accountability, and it's kind of like this rinse and repeat cycle that we've seen with several influencers. But it is so important. I'm not saying that you have to do every single thing that a subscriber might ask you to do. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is they literally, like, your subscribers being along for the ride is everything. They are essentially your management. As far as, if you want to compare it to a corporate world, if you scream at your boss, then chances are you're going to get written up or fired. If you scream at your subscribers or cuss them out, then chances are that subscriber is going to leave, and it will start to snowball because more people will kind of figure out, like, hey, like, this person is not very good at all, and word will spread. And a lot of times, obviously, the downfall is a lot more serious, kind of like what we're seeing with Colleen right now. But it is just so wild. Like, yes, your fans do and can build you an entire empire. And if you are exposed to be an awful person, then don't expect them to sit around and continue to believe the bullshit that you're serving. Some choose to, but most choose to exit, and that's where we are now. When Adam McIntyre was 10 years old, he found something he thought was utterly breathtakingly, overwhelmingly special: YouTube. Sure, the Irish preteen had the same classes and the same background as most of his peers in Brighton, England. But while his classmates followed more mainstream celebrities, pop sensations, and blockbuster action stars, McIntyre was focused on the new site and its budding brand of superstars. YouTubers back then was not like it is now, McIntyre tells Rolling Stone. It was a very weird concept. I felt so much different than anyone who was in my class at school. To distract himself from bullying and other difficulties of early adolescence, he began combing through videos on YouTube and found a favorite in comedian Colleen Ballinger. But what started as a gradual offhand interest quickly brought McIntyre into a close friendship with Ballinger that now, at 20, he alleges was exploitative, abusive, and toxic. Ballinger denied these claims in 2020, but has not responded to additional complaints or Rolling Stone's recent multiple requests for comment. Oh yeah, and her team are over on all of her social media, is just deleting comments like it is their full-time job. I'm convinced that she probably has a team of 50 or more people monitoring her comments section all day and all night, allegedly. It continues by saying, and as more of the first true children of the internet come to age and reevaluate their online relationships with their favorite YouTube stars, another realization is sweeping and shattering. Internet fandoms. The intimate way early YouTube stars cultivated relationships with their followers and made them famous. It also opened the doors for widespread abuse. In the past 3 weeks, Ballinger has been accused of abusing her power and engaging in toxic parasocial relationships with fans. Past and current members of her team, including her best friend Corey DeSoto, her ex-husband Joshua Evans, and her brother Trent Ballinger, have also been accused of using Ballinger's fame and access to inappropriately message underage followers. Fans have claimed that they were sent inappropriate texts by Trent, asked about their sex lives by Ballinger, and in one case, bullied over their weight by DeSoto. McIntyre says the YouTube star created a reputation for personally responding and interacting with fans, a power he claims that she took advantage of for content. And I think it's important to also say, because I interact with my subscribers, if someone messages me, I'm going to respond. And if we're both talking to each other, then that's what it is. But when you're a YouTuber and you're talking to people, if you even like think that that person might be young, and especially Colleen knew the content she was making was attracting a younger audience. You cannot just openly talk back and forth with people knowing that, hey, I make this kind of content. This person is probably not 18 years old. Very, very bad. It continues by saying, and 4 other fans tell Rolling Stone that the same access that made Ballinger famous opened the door for behind-the-scenes interactions that they describe as toxic, exploitative, and hurtful. And nobody from that group of people responded to her request either. This isn't the first time YouTubers have faced backlash over their interactions with fans. In 2021, James Charles admitted to texting 16-year-old fans sexually explicit content, saying that he wasn't aware they were underage at the time. So while Ballinger's allegations aren't criminal, or even hint that she's used her power to start sexual relationships, according to Sasha Judd, a tech executive, writer, and expert on fandom, it sheds light on how, within insular subcultures like YouTube fan groups, stars can hold intense emotional power, even when they're not doing anything illegal. And that's the thing, like, you hype up these kids and you make them feel like, you know, they're friends with you, and then you're fully well aware and you are fully orchestrating them going out and attacking on your behalf. It's not just a, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that, this is dumb, that's dumb. Like, it's not just like a normal conversation. It is so, so bad. Within the subcultures that arise from fandom, there's this idea of capital that's associated with access. Judd tells Rolling Stone, you know that you have increased cultural capital within the community that you're a part of. So whenever there's an opportunity to actually be in contact with the object of your fandom, that's just sort of ripe for a really unbalanced power dynamic, because the fan is nobody to the famous person, and the famous person is absolutely everything to the fan. And that can produce some pretty giant red flags. I always say it's really important to appreciate your subscribers, but my line is simply, is the person an adult or are they not an adult? And if I know that they are not an adult, that conversation does not go any further. That's it. I'm out. You know, and it's funny because I know that Colleen is very familiar with her analytics and who's watching her, and that's been available for years to YouTubers. And I look at my analytics just out of sheer curiosity, and 0.0% of kids from 13 to 17 year olds watch my videos. They're simply just not on my channel. And I wonder what that percentage is for, especially for her Miranda Sings account. While Ballinger has a successful vlog account that focuses on her life as a performer, comedian, and mother of three, most people know her from her famous sketch character Miranda Sings. Let's also not discount the fact that she fully exploits her three children. Her vlog is primarily focused on showing her children, sharing their embarrassing moments, all kinds of stuff. So it's not her being a mother, it's her showing her children on her vlog channel. It continues by saying the character, who she debuted in 2008, wears high-waisted pants, slick back hair, and has a drawling nasal voice. Her most telling look is her bright red lipstick, drawn far past Ballinger's lips to give Miranda a crazed effect. She's rude, entitled, can't sing, farts and burps for laughs, and shoots down every criticism with the unwavering belief that she'll be famous. And while the costume might have been synonymous with cringe millennial internet humor, Ballinger juxtaposed her sketches with an online persona dedicated to steadfast kindness and positivity, which attracted a wave of young fans. Ballinger was one of the first YouTube stars to straddle the line between internet famous and real tangible celebrity, permanently changing those understandings in the process. Miranda goes so far past being kind of like this slapstick comedy kind of a bit that's just kind of cringeworthy to quote millennials or whatever. It's so far past that. It's the inappropriateness, her language, everything being like a sex joke, talking about body parts constantly, and knowing that there were young children that were willing to listen to her. Remember, I just talked about how she made a video telling her audience how to make a Hatchimal. And if a young child is going to listen to what she has to say, then a family could easily come home and have a cat in a paper bag. At the height of her popularity around 2016, Miranda Sings was one of the faces of YouTube stardom. She grew to 10 million subscribers on her Miranda Sings channel alone, which didn't account for her other 10 million subscribers on her vlog and personal channels. She had countless collabs with fellow YouTubers, won a 2015 Teen Choice Award, produced several national and international tours, and had a limited guest run on the Broadway production of Waitress, and starred in her own Netflix series, Haters Back Off. Through it all, Ballinger would often include her family and friends, like her brother Trent Ballinger, best friend Corey DeSoto, and her team, featuring them in videos, sketches, and shows, along with fan interactions. Ballinger, like other early YouTube stars, was doing it all without established rules, says Jamie Cohen's PhD, an assistant professor of digital culture and media at Queens College, especially with how they interacted with fans. The earliest YouTubers had no real guidance, Cohen says. They were mostly white kids that were basically saying, oh, we're fighting back against the gatekeepers, essentially inventing the platform as it went. They made their own rules. Early on, the comment section became a place that dictated how content was created. And it developed into a strange competition where fans themselves felt like if they weren't noticed by a creator, it gave them power. And at some point, YouTubers learned that parasocial relationships are their success model. For McIntyre, it was this sort of interaction, Ballinger's emphasis on talking and responding directly to her fans, that drew him into her fandom and covered up the red flags in their interactions. It was a gradual thing, he said. He started with just following accounts that tweeted about Ballinger's content, and before long, he was an active part of the community, interacting with every video and social media post, as well as actively discussing Ballinger in multiple fan group chats. The first time McIntyre met Ballinger was in 2014 at a tour stop in Dublin. It was very professional, McIntyre said. I was a fan, she was the celebrity. But after they met in person again in 2016, McIntyre says that their friendship became real. The two went from talking through tweets and direct messages, where, according to the screenshots reviewed by Rolling Stone, They would discuss the comedian's content as well as more serious matters like her online haters and impending divorce from then husband Joshua Evans. Adam was 14 at the time, Ballinger was 29. That age gap will always make my skin crawl. I was looking at this like it was a golden opportunity of trust, McIntyre says, and I, in the moment, didn't really care if it was morally wrong or right, because I was just grateful that she was talking to me, not anyone else. It made me feel like I know something other people don't know. They know Miranda sings, but I know Colleen. And I understand that, especially in a very young mindset. I can imagine that he definitely felt special. And, you know, that age thing really trips me up. In a Twitter group chat called Colleen's Weenies, Ballinger would send sexually suggestive messages according to screenshots provided by McIntyre and reviewed by Rolling Stone, asking questions like, are you a virgin? What's your fave position? Once, in response to a message from McIntyre that read, my ASS looks so good today, Ballinger responded, pics Adam. I've covered both of those in previous videos. McIntyre first raised alarm bells about he and Ballinger's interactions in April 2020, after hearing rumors from other fan pages that Ballinger had been discussing him in a negative light. Weeks earlier, she had given him the password for her Twitter account, where Adam drafted and posted tweets with her approval. One joke he wrote about Ballinger, quote, coming out as a Meghan Trainor fan got major backlash, with hundreds of users saying that it was homophobic, leading to Ballinger deleting it. That April, McIntyre posted a 25-minute video called Colleen Ballinger Stop Lying. In it, McIntyre said that his friendship with Ballinger was exploitative, alleging the YouTuber used her power to get free labor, and then he was dropped when it was convenient for her. He added that many of their past conversations had strayed from the typical fan-celebrity relationship to an imbalanced friendship. McIntyre also brought up past situations he felt uncomfortable with, issues he said that he previously overlooked because his friendship with Ballinger. Specifically in 2016, Ballinger and DeSoto, which is her best friend Corey, sent him a lingerie set while on live stream. McIntyre was one of the many fans asking for presents during the live stream, and initially thought it was funny. In an apology video responding to McIntyre, Ballinger said that the gift was a, quote, stupid idea, but had been misconstrued as creepy. No, Colleen, it was just creepy. We've been saying that, some of us, for 3 years now. I should have never sent that. I don't know what part of my brain was missing at the time, but I am not a monster. I am not a groomer, and I shouldn't kill myself. As far as the, KIL kind of stuff, I am never with that. I don't care who it is. That's not acceptable, but it's also not acceptable for Colleen to piss off her fandom and send them after Adam or anyone else giving her criticism. People accepted Ballinger's apology and accused McIntyre of trying to ruin her career. That's a typical response. Typical response. I've, seen this, oh, you're writing coattails, oh, you're using blah, blah, blah for clout, oh, you're trying to cancel somebody. I've been hearing that for ages, and Adam's situation was much more serious than what I've heard, but it continues by saying for almost 3 years, according to posts reviewed by Rolling Stone, Adam was called slurs, threatened, and doxxed by Ballinger's fans. It is unclear whether Ballinger was aware of the fandom messages towards McIntyre, but she never publicly asked her followers to avoid hate messages, a common tactic used by YouTubers to protect smaller platforms involved in drama. When it began in 2020, in the midst of the Panini and virtual schooling, McIntyre said the harassment got so bad that he had to isolate himself from everyone that he trusted. It also goes over some other stuff that I've already talked about, so I will not read those as well because I've already covered it. But this section, it says, Oliver, a former fan from Pennsylvania, says Colleen's motto of spreading happiness drew him into her fandom. Oliver, who is trans, identified as a girl at that time, but after joining in early 2018 and following Ballinger and her family on the site, a follow back from Ballinger's brother Trent quickly turned into constant communication. Messages reviewed by Rolling Stone show that over a year of communication, with Trent complimenting Oliver's looks, asking him for photos, and telling him to text anytime. Anything we talk about stays between you and I, read one message. You would look good, preg, if you ever want children one day, read another. Oliver was 13, Trent was 33. So disgusting. And what kind of excuse are the Ballinger fans going to come up with that one? Someone's lying? Let me guess. Oh, they're lying. They're riding coattails. It continues by saying, I was confused, but I brushed it off, Oliver tells Rolling Stone. I was too scared to tell my mom because I didn't want her to take away my phone and not trust me. And even when I started to become uncomfortable, I kept thinking to myself, this is Colleen's brother. So many people in this fandom would probably love to have messages from him. So wrong. They treated all of us like they were our older siblings and cared about us. It was a very weird dynamic, but it felt like a very tight-knit family. Since Adam has repeated his accusations against Ballinger, the YouTube star has gone silent. On June 12th, Ballinger restricted comments on her Instagram and TikTok accounts. Even though she's currently 2 shows into a national tour, she has not responded to dozens of tweets from Adam and from other former members of her fandom. On the 16th, sponsor ZocDoc confirmed to Rolling Stone that they would no longer run ads on her podcast in light of the allegations. As of now, McIntyre said he's focused on building up his YouTube account again in order to prove creators can build meaningful relationships with their following while setting appropriate boundaries. And even if people believe he's speaking out of this to get revenge on Ballinger, he said that his new goal is to demonstrate how YouTubers can interact with their fan base without exploitation. And that's exactly what I've said. Like, yes, interact with your fans, but if they are literal children, then that is probably not a conversation that should carry on. And that is for me personally, I have no interest, and I will not interact with somebody if they tell me that they are underage. Then that conversation ends there. But it is vital to respond to comments that you get and that kind of stuff. And when I say talking to somebody that's underage, like, behind the scenes conversations, in my opinion, should not happen between an adult and a child. That's how I feel. And it closes out by saying that as more content creators become celebrities, he and other media experts hope that people will learn from experience and draw strong ethical boundaries around fan interactions and relationships. And that's all that needs to happen. That's all that needs to happen. Have boundaries, appreciate people who are supporting your channel, and if you are an adult, don't have behind the scenes conversations with children, because things can go left very quickly, and I just don't think that it's an appropriate conversation to be happening in DM or in email when you are knowingly communicating with a minor, and that's how I feel. But I wanted to share this with you. I fully support Adam, and I hope that people continue to voice their support for him, because this isn't easy. It's not easy to put out your trauma and talk about these things when you might be called stupid or naive or blamed. We just talked about that Papa gut reaction where he was excusing Colleen and blaming Adam. So it's not easy, but even if it's not easy, we're here to talk about it. But I will link this down below in case you guys want to read what I did it. And yeah, that's going to be it for now. So if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.